I'm honored to receive the prestigious Thinkers 50 Lifetime Achievement Award. First, I'd like to thank Stuart and Des, the founders of the Thinkers 50, and all those who selected me for this award. I do not see this as a full stop, but rather a step forward ready to take another jump. By taking this opportunity, I'd like to thank my colleagues all around the world, those who have worked closely with me over the years. I also would like to thank my wife and our 2 daughters for keeping me looking ahead in good times and bad times. Stuart and Des have asked me to talk about my journey, how I developed my ideas over the years. I always tend to look ahead, not much looking back, so it may be challenging for me to talk much about the past. But let me try my best to recall and share at least some of the major turning points of my life. I became interested in management and organization while I was working for Fuji Electric in 1958. I worked for the company for about 9 years in a variety of functions: human resources, marketing, corporate planning, and so on. I noticed that most of the new theory and method introduced in Japan were coming from the US. I saw the Japanese management style were already quite outdated, and I felt a sense of crisis. Then I decided to quit my job and study in the US. My ambition was to develop a new original made-in-Japan theory rather than borrowing theories from elsewhere. I went to the University of California at Berkeley. The reason I went to UC Berkeley was very simple, because they first accepted my application for admission. Berkeley is known to be the Athens of the Pacific, named after philosopher George Berkeley. Berkeley had a reputation for its theoretical approach to management, and I was fortunate to get the opportunity to study there. After finishing an MBA, I continued my graduate studies on doctoral program under Frances N. Nicosia and majored in the consumer decision process. Professor Nicosia was highly influenced by the information processing paradigm by Herbert A. Simon. I was so poor in English, so Nicosia advised me to read Hemingway to express my many ideas in simple words. Eventually, my doctoral dissertation was based on the concept of requisite variety by Ashby, and I examined how organizations cope with a variety of information and decision burdens that the environment generates. In addition, I learned how theories should be constructed, and I also learned research methodologies from great scholars in sociology like Neil Smeltzer and Arthur Stinchcombe. The move to Berkeley had a great impact on my life. After receiving a PhD from UC Berkeley in 1972, I returned to Japan and started conducting research and writing papers focusing on Japanese firms. In late 1970s, I received an invitation to a workshop in Brussels, organized by Gunnar Hedlund and Eleanor Westney. It was focused on globalization. I met many great scholars such as C.K. Prahalad, Eve Dawes, and Sumantra Ghoshal and Bruce Kogut. The workshop gave me a new perspective on globalization. It was another turning point in my life. I started studying different management styles. I found Japanese firms tend to favor long-term strategy and evolutionary progress. However, they were not good at drastic restructuring and making efficient use of resources. I believe this is still true for many Japanese firms. When I began teaching at the National Defense Academy in Japan, I became interested in military strategy. With some colleagues, I did a research project exploring the failures of Japanese military organization during the Second World War. We published the findings in a book, Essence of Failure. We identified how the Japanese military organization created knowledge from failures and how difficult it is to change behavior after success. We compared the Japanese military with the military organization of the US, including among others the US Marine Corps. We summarized our findings into a simple concept: over-adaptation to past success. Again, this concept still applies to many Japanese firms. Another turning point in my career came in 1984, when I attended the Harvard Business School colloquium on productivity and technology. After that, I left the information processing paradigm and began the knowledge creating paradigm. In 1986, Hirotaka Takeuchi and I published a paper, The New Product Development Game, in the Harvard Business Review. This was based on our research on new product development in Japanese firms. It was a turning point in my focus from information to knowledge. In addition, interesting enough, after a decade or so, this paper influenced the software development industry and became the foundation of the Agile Scrum development method. With continued research, I became confident that innovation process cannot be explained solely by the information processing model. Innovation needs to be proactive rather than merely responding to environmental changes. I also started exploring human factors such as personal commitment, emotion, and strong belief. I wrote the Knowledge Creating Company article in 1991. It was published by the Harvard Business Review. We observed that where the only certainty is uncertainty, the one sure source of lasting competitive advantage is knowledge. Inspired by the work of Michael Polanyi, we distinguished knowledge in tacit and explicit dimensions. Explicit knowledge can be captured in symbols, codes, statements, figures, and so forth, whereas tacit knowledge is tied to body, senses, movement, intuition, experiences, and so on. In 1995, together with Hirotaka Takeuchi, we wrote the Knowledge Creating Company book. Since then, I have continued to try to explain firms' activities from the knowledge creating point of view. My interest has expanded from organizational behavior to strategy. Together with George von Kroll and Kazu Ikujiro, I wrote Enabling Knowledge Creation that discusses knowledge creation in strategic management. At UC Berkeley, together with David Teese, we taught a course on innovation, and we hosted the Knowledge Forum for 5 years, sponsored by Fuji Xerox, where we met many great thinkers like John C.D. Brown of Park, Dorothy Leonard from Harvard Business School, Larry Prusak from Babson, as well as CEOs from major organizations who started leading the knowledge-creating movement around the world. In our continued research in the area of knowledge creation, we observe that organizations need to continually synthesize knowledge exploration and exploitation. And such organizations build and utilize a triad relationship of knowledge that integrate and synthesizes tacit and explicit knowledge. The knowledge spiral is promoted by a third type of knowledge, practical wisdom, originally identified by Aristotle as phronesis. In my view, phronesis can be understood as the ability to determine and undertake the best action in a specific situation to serve the common good. Such actions guided by values and ethics are important aspects of wise leaders. The wise leaders of the knowledge-creating companies need such practical wisdom because management is not only a science but also an art and a craft. I believe it is more an art, and one of the greatest artists in our field was Peter Drucker, who was able to grasp the essence of issues to build more universal theories. I served as a distinguished Drucker scholar in residence at the Drucker School at Claremont Graduate University, and I continued studying why Drucker was able to see what others could not see. The essence of business is not about bettering the competence to maximize profit. It is about relentless pursuit of the firm's own standard of excellence. Finally, I'd like to say that now I see management as a way of life. Instead of simply chasing numbers, wise leaders focus on shaping the future together with others, considering shared context and the common good. Such leaders can judge goodness and set good goals. They can grasp the essence and perceive reality as it is. They create shared context or dynamic bar, articulate and communicate the essence of the story, exercise political power to realize such a story, and foster practical wisdom, phronesis, in others to continue their transformation journey with agility. I will continue my journey to better understand how the knowledge-creating companies continually changing themselves and their environment. How management in such companies viewed as a way of life, not just a money-making tool. As I recall my journey, I think what I've been up to in my whole life is also the same, creating new meanings of myself and the environment around me. My journey itself has been a synthesizing process of idealism and pragmatism. It has been the way of my life, and it will continue to be so in the years to come. Thank you.